I was moving my widgets around on my phone. Mic check. Mic check. Philodendron. Philodendron. Yeah, I'm moving my apps around because I don't even use. I don't even like most of these apps. I use like maybe once a month. So I'm moving them. I'm going to try. Oh, almost lost. Come on, go over. I'm trying to move. Okay, there it is. I'm moving my apps around to where the only ones I'm actually going to use, I'm putting them on the main page, and the rest of them I'm just going to like delete entirely from the home screen because I literally don't use this shit at all. Okay, that looks better. Oof. So, what's up, Flick? Keep doing these live vids. Will, what's up, Will? Keep doing these live vids, bro. They're helping. They're very helpful to a lot of men, including me. Well, thank you. I don't know how to take uh, compliments, so thank you. So, Mr. Billy Bath Gate, you play Ninja Turtles? No, my gaming PCs are in another room. I keep because this room is mostly for the baby. Well, he's like 3 now. He's not a baby, but because he gets to my son starts to he gets to throwing shit and getting ridiculous. He'll just like he's 3, he doesn't know. So we just like randomly just start throwing shit like for no reason. Like we're just sitting there chilling, and this flute. I just put this flute back over here, and because he just started throwing it, just standing there and just start throwing it like as hard as he can, as high as he can. Like why the fuck are you doing that? Like there was no reason to do that. We were chilling, and there's a TV right here. So my gaming laptop and my gaming PC, all my games are in another room where I used to live stream from. Um, because I was actually going to try that Metal Gear, the remake of that they did. I'm just going to try. I tried playing that Horizon Forbidden West. I just don't like Horizon Forbidden West like at all. Like I just something's just not. When I think the whole game is just off. Like I never cared for Horizon for Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn was much better. The Forbidden West, I think, is just a complete downgrade. Maybe I played it like 20 minutes and deleted that shit. Um, like everything, there's just nothing about that was like nothing about that said that's a quality game at like nothing. It just wasn't good. Like from the animations, nothing about that was good. So, so I'm gonna try that Metal Gear tonight on the military the laptop the military gave me. The military they gave me a laptop that has it's an i9 like 1380 or something like that HX, like 32 gigs of RAM. And the video card is the only weaker part. It's a 4060 video card, but it has a 165 hertz refresh rate monitor, or it's a laptop. So, but it's good. I have a lot of fun. I really enjoy that laptop. So but I keep Windows 11 on that laptop, and I keep Windows 10 on my gaming on the desktop. That has a 3070 in it, and like an i5 like 12400F. Um, and I keep the desktop more for like simulation because I got the Quest 3 headset, so I usually just play like iRace, like simulation racing on the desktop, and in a laptop I play like actual like games, like unless it's a game that won't run on. Like for example, like Guardians of the Galaxy like would not run on the laptop because like Windows 11 had some update that like can completely crash, or like Red Dead Redemption 2 won't run on my on my Windows 11, and Guardians of the Galaxy just won't even open on it. Yeah, and I tried on Windows 10 and it worked flawlessly. So yeah, I'm gonna keep those two separated for just simply because the operating system alone, really, just to have that extra option in there. What's good? A Dizzle, what's on the docket for the day? He's three now. Damn, I feel old. What's up, Super Ivory? See the name for a Super. What's up, man? Yeah, Comedy Soldier. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna get to it, man. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Speaking of, until you mention it, I didn't realize how invasive FromSoft is. They're in every Souls game I dislike. It's just yeah, man. I could go on that rant for hours. I could go on. Yeah, I could do that rant for hours, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, that FromSoft shit is like, I mean, it's like here's the thing. I don't I can like FromSoft for what it is, but I can never play them for the longest FromSoft game I ever sat down with was Armored Core, that last Armored Core, and then Elden Ring. Those are the only two I genuinely had an interest in actually playing for a while. But here's the thing: every time I play a FromSoft game, it just it the issue, like I said in the rant, I said I wasn't going to rant, but here's a slight rant. The issue with FromSoft games is that they're literally just one trick pony games. That's it. Like that, what you see in the first 5 minutes is what you're gonna see throughout the entire goddamn game in terms of what you're actually gonna do in it. Like there's no variation. There's no variation of storyline for what little storyline there is. There's no variation in mission structure at all. It's just the same shit. It's just misdirection and timing on attacks, animation locks, poor hit detection, which is verified by fact, by the way. There's plenty of guys on YouTube who reverse engineered it and can thoroughly explain it. It's a game literally for masochists, and I mean that's cool if that's your thing, but for me, I was playing. I really enjoy Sekiro. I really do like Sekiro, but I can never play it for long. And then once I get to a certain length into it, I just don't have I literally have zero intent. I have zero craving for that for another 2 years. I played Liza P for a while here recently. And I did make it pretty far in there. But I'll be honest with you, when I play Liza P, I made it further because I used every summons I could use. Because I do appreciate the atmosphere of the FromSoft and the decent FromSoft clones. The atmosphere is cool, these kind of things, the creativity in the enemy design, the boss designs could be cool to look at. So I'll just use a summon. I don't give a fuck. So that's why I made it as far as I did. I used summon, and I think I made it. The last part I remember making it to was I had just ridden this long elevator very high up. I just beat this one boss that had it had two sides to it, and you had to go around to the back and kill that one, and that's how you killed the whole boss. But it was I want to say it wasn't like a squid, but it was something kind of like a squid. And the front part was the part that did the heavy damage, and if you had a summons, well, you could just make the summons fight the front part. You just go around to the back, and it wasn't very difficult at all for a FromSoft game, at least. And after that, I rode an elevator. I remember it's way up high to where I could see everywhere where I had just traveled up to that point. And I may have made it a little further than that, and I just completely lost interest in it. And actually, I just deleted it. But the save file's still on my laptop, so I could just re-download it, and play it again. But I just lose all interest in them for years, and then I'll get a craving to play FromSoft again, and then play it for about a week, maybe a little less, and then it's just one trick pony shit, and and in my opinion, it's not even very good one trick pony shit. I'm a fan of Bayonetta. I think Bayonetta is one of the best action games ever made, because of the controls and the character's personality. But the issue with Bayonetta is if you only play it in the beginning, it can feel like it's gonna be just an easy arcade beat 'em up. But that game, in my opinion, is probably harder than FromSoft games for real. Because once you get further in them, they get very fucking difficult. You're gonna die multiple times in Bayonetta. But those first few levels if you only played the first few levels, it'll lead you to believe, oh, it's just gonna be like a basic arcade shoot 'em up. But they get very intricate. And my favorite was the third one, and a lot of people hated it, but I thought that was by far the best. If you were in the Bayonetta, not necessarily for the lore, but just the fact that if anybody played Bayonetta, then you know what I'm saying. But if you never played Bayonetta, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But Bayonetta is essentially a witch, and she's got this attitude, and like I always like Bayonetta, and I think Charlize Theron should play Bayonetta. I think she would make a great Bayonetta. But Bayonetta, she's a witch, and like most Japanese stories, either they don't make any goddamn sense, or they like went crazy with making sense with it. It's one extreme or the other. And this falls in the area of not much sense is being made at all, other than like the basic core things. But long story short, Bayonetta it's pretty much like an arcade version of Devil May Cry, where she's a witch, but she is human at the core. Like she can actually die, where Dante can't actually die for real. She can die, but she can like summon like these huge beasts and monsters to like finish off bad guys in part one and part two. So like in those games, like when you would fight, and then at the end of the fight, she would like summon a monster, and you had to play the mini game. But it was fun. It was like an arcade game, but it was great. But in part three, like I didn't even see that evolution coming. They made part three to where you can actually summon the beast whenever you want to and control the beast while you're sitting there like dancing to make it fucking because you're a witch, and she like has to dance to get the animal to do what she wants to do. And I didn't see that evolution coming, and that was actually a really great. I mean, just Bayonetta 3 was by far the best one. I don't see how somebody could not. I mean, I can see story wise, but I mean it's a Japanese game, so I don't hold Japanese games to a high level of storytelling unless they go like the Nier Automata route, where it's just like Nier Automata. There's just so much lore. I played that game over 5 years ago, and I'm still learning new shit about that game. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just that much lore that's going on in it, and it all syncs up. So it's like either Japanese, they either go that direction, or they just go a direction of like, yeah, we just fight these monsters, and that's it. So go in a room and just fight monsters. Yeah, there's a pendant. Yeah. There's a pendant, and it's red, and it kind of shines sometimes. And yeah. Go in another room and fight some more monsters. Yeah. And oh, did you get your pendant or did it disappear? Okay. Go in another room and fight some more. That's just how every Dark Souls game is. It's like go over there and fight something else. You see that scary thing? Yeah. Go fight that. Okay then. So you beat that? Okay then. Well, here's a tall building to look at. There's some more bad guys in the room to go fight. Go fight them. Like it's just so dry. Like I just can't do it for that long. Like uh, there's a shield you can use. Yeah, so go fight this werewolf that has the hind legs of a machine. Okay then. Here's some more suffering. Like that's how when I play a FromSoft game, that's exactly how it feels to me playing it. Like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They just like here's a bunch of shit. Just fight it with poorly timed mechanics, and blame yourself if you didn't get it right. But I am excited for Phantom Blade Zero. I really want to play that. I'm really hyped for that. I've been wanting to play that since the first trailer dropped. First gameplay trailer dropped for that. You watch DMC on? No, I remember hearing that it was on Netflix. Super. But I completely forgot about it because I watched the old Devil May Cry animes. They came out like when I was watching those that was like 2009 when I first went to college. I was in my apartment. That was 2009, 2010. Because I was watching there's a Devil May Cry anime from back then with English dubbing, as I was watching on the internet. Because I remember the apartment I was in when I watched that, because I was watching that and the Iron Man anime. Because the Iron Man anime was weirdly good. I was weirdly invested in that. I mean, like it wasn't like an ongoing one ongoing storyline, but it was a really it was a weirdly good show. I can't remember the exact name of it, but maybe it's like The Adventures of Iron Man. I don't know, but it was really. I was watching both of those. Isn't Bayonetta 2D? No, it's 3D flick. Bayonetta's 3D. Um, I can see how it would because I didn't even want to play when I first. I remember hearing about Bayonetta when it first came out, and I remember I watched reviews, and for some reason I thought it was like a turn-based game, so I never touched it. And I think so. I don't even know how I think maybe I downloaded the demo or something on Xbox 360. I mean, I don't because I would have never touched it on my own because I didn't like how it looked or anything. And I fucked. I'm pretty sure it was a demo somewhere. That's how I had to have played it because I would have never spent money on that on my own. And I ended up playing it, and it just like slowly grew on me. So I was like, no, this is actually the shit. Like, and if you watch if you watch game reviewers of the time, the only negatives that they give Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 is that and you go. I'm pretty sure the IGN back when IGN was better. The only negative they gave Bayonetta's was that it said that we won't see a better action game than this. This is as good as it gets. That was a negative that they gave it. I still remember that review. I didn't really care for Bayonetta 2 mostly because the music. I was I love Bayonetta 1 so much that I even learned how to play Fly Me to the Moon, and I watched like this one dude he did a cover of it. I loved it. I'm a big Bayonetta fan. I love Bayonetta. She just has this like cunty attitude. Like she just doesn't give a fuck. She is overly sexual and it's kind of like a little pervy and that shit. But but other than that, like she just has this like she just doesn't care. This like nonchalant, that typical like almost British humor kind of thing. How they like pretend like they just really don't care about the universe kind of thing. And but she's like incredibly like she's pretty much Dante, where she just do all these ridiculously perfect things. So it all works. But yeah, two. Um, so I will go ahead and spoil one part because Bayonetta is not a popular game, so it's not a big spoiler. So there's three different Bayonetta games. Well, there's four technically, but there's three when she's like an adult. Well, so part one was of course Bayonetta, and part two you're Bayonetta too. Well, in part three, it was clear that you were a Bayonetta from like a different universe, right? So, but there was a huge plot twist at the end because is when you start okay, because at the end like you were getting ready to be killed, right? Like you just couldn't beat this dude, and all of a sudden these two other like because you come across other Bayonettas from different universes throughout the game, right? But the huge plot twist was that the Bayonetta that you play in part one and the Bayonetta that you play in part two are actually two different Bayonettas. And I never put that shit together, dude. That was a huge plot because like you were getting ready to die as the Bayonetta you were playing in Bayonetta 3. And then the other two Bayonettas, the one with the short hair and the one with that fucking Amy Winehouse beehive shit comes in and saves you. And all their music starts playing. I was like, oh shit. Those were two like so all these Bayonettas are the three Bayonettas that you get in actual games, those were all three different Bayonettas from different universes. Because you would just automatically think it was the same one. Maybe she just changed her hairstyle for part two. But those were actually two different Bayonettas the whole time. Never put that together. That was a huge plot twist. The other plot twist was shit. They tried to force in that Viola girl, and nobody liked Viola. Like, and I guess they tried to make her the new Bayonetta. And if they come up with a Bayonetta 4, they have to reverse that shit because nobody liked that. That was awful. Because Viola's like this like butch. Bayonetta's like this sexy cunt, and then Viola's like this butch woke punk rocker. didn't work at all. They gotta throw that shit out. You gotta try Arc Raiders. You know, I'm thinking about trying it, Street Genius. I'm thinking about trying it. I watched a review, and it did look good. Because I really wanted to try Hell Divers, but I never got around to Hell Divers. But yeah, I did watch a review on Arc Raiders, and it did look good. And I'm not even a fan of games like that. But that did look good. Eric, what's up, man? What's good? It's the damnedest thing. I always think to ask you something when you're not in a stream, but as soon as you go live, my mind goes blank. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm chilling, man. AD, how's a bottled water out there versus the U.S. in terms of taste? Dasani water. Street Genius, man, I gotta be honest with you, man. I I never okay. I didn't drink much bottled water in North America. To be honest with you, because I just thought it was too expensive, bottled water. So I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm not, and on top of that, I'm not really that. I'm not, I'm not trying to downplay your perspective when I say this, but I'm just not. I don't have that sensitive of taste buds to water like that, unless it's something's like really wrong with it. Like I'm the same way with beer. I think most beers taste the same, or what little bit difference really isn't worth to unless it's like a big difference, like Natty Light or a basic Budweiser. Now, I think there's a big difference in that, but I mean I would drink either. I really don't care. Um, I've never had an issue with any bottled water. It's really cheap. It's like this would be like 5 crowns, which is 20. So this would be about 20 cents for this size. The weird part is now here's the weird part about buying bottled water in Czech Republic. So like this size would be about the equivalent of roughly 25 cents, something like about 25 cents, right? So you can see the size of my hand. I'm not a huge dude. I'm a regular sized person. So this is like a carry bottle, right? This will be about 25 cents. Now you can get, and hang on, this is a half liter. See that? This is 1/2. So also you see, yeah. So pretty much once you leave the U.S., when you come over here, you just gotta always replace the commas, the decimals with the commas, and the commas with the decimals. That's how they do it. So this is 0.5 liters, right? Now if you get a whole liter, like a liter and a half of water, it would be like 30 cents, right? But it's just so big, and in a walking culture, you really don't want to have to carry this big thing of water. So like, like on a financial sense, it makes sense to get the bigger bottle, the bigger bottle, but you got to carry it everywhere. So so it's a pain in the ass. So you just buy this, so you can actually just carry it, drink a little bit as you need, and just throw it away, right? But I've never had an issue. This is their like cheap, like the basic water brand that you find everywhere. So this means without bubbles. Nepeliva is without bubbles. Without bubbles. This is regular water. But yeah, in America, I was never a bottled water drinker because like these things in America are just so expensive for my taste that I personally would never buy like I would never buy bottled waters with my own money. With somebody else's money maybe, but not with my own money. I just think I think they charge too much for it. Street Genius, less than 50 cent is a great cost. Makes sense if walking and run, just go, yeah, just get it. Oh yeah, these things. I'll be telling my spouse, man, like when we be in the grocery store and I see Coca-Cola here, it'd be like a liter and a half for like so essentially like a 2 liter of Coke here it would be like here, let's just Google it real fast. It's no more than $2. I don't even think it's $2. Do you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Maybe I should just type in Coke and then just like the grocery store. Yeah, I'm just gonna type Coca-Cola. Um, So a 2 liter of Coke is 49 Czech crowns. That's like $2 for was that is that a 2 liter? That's a bigger one. Let me see exactly. Let me make sure you guys see that. I'm gonna read that in a minute, man. Thanks a lot. Oh, it's actually 36 crowns. That's like a dollar. Yeah, for okay. So I don't know how to read that. 2L. So for 1 liter, I'm thinking it's really cheap here. It's like Coca, these things like Coca Cola, pretty much any bottled and any pretty much most food and bottled stuff is much cheaper here. Much cheaper. So this is 36 crowns. So 36 crowns would be about $1.50, maybe. Maybe it's not $2. It's maybe about $1.50, something like that. And I mean, in America, to even find like something this size for a Coca Cola would be like that'd be a great price. But that's gonna be like at least a liter for that. And I'll see it and I'll be telling her like, yeah, in America, these things are, expensive. Way more expensive. Trying to think of something else. We'll see. Or I'll see it. And remember, like back in the US, like pretty much anything healthy in America is expensive. Pretty much anything that could even be passed off as health is expensive in North America. Um, well, to be okay, if you go to the fresh produce section in like Kroger's or something like that, it's I would say our fresh produce in America is probably priced better than here, or very similar. It's either similar or priced better for what you get. Like for example, like if you like cilantro, that's one big thing I really miss about being back in Ohio. I can go to Kroger's and get a whole big like bushel of cilantro for like $1.50 or something like that. Here they'll sell you like let me see if I can find it just so you guys can see. It's really laughable how much they sell you here for like the same price. Like it is a complete ripoff. They call it coriander or coriander, how they say it. It's like pretty much the same shit, but it's like this fucking like 20 grams for $1.50, which is like nothing, dude. Like, and this package actually looks good. Jesus Christ, gonna let me click off. Okay. What's not even letting me see it? To see how pathetic it is. Like it's really bad. It's not gonna let me click off that screen. This is out and is that the I always forget the signs. I think that's pounds. So it's like 50 cent. But no, I'm looking for Czech crowns. This one. It's $1.50. If it would let me click off this screen, are they gonna make me accept it? I can't even click on it. This is pathetic. Jesus Christ. Okay, get the fuck out of here. It's interesting that the stores are named on here Sam's Club, so there's people saying I'm going to Albert. Yeah. Well, Albert, okay, so they do have like a version of Sam's Club out here. I forget what the name of it is, but it's the same shit. I can never remember the name of it till somebody brings it up. But it does exist where you get a club card and you get this shit in like bulk. I can never remember it. I can never remember the name of it, but it's definitely here. There's a version, just like there's they hit like Home Depot. That's another thing. Like they call it Obi, but it's the same shit. Concrete floors, that warehouse ceiling kind of look, and all it's the same, exact same shit. It's literally they do theirs. They do the same thing here, but they just have different names for it, like that. But yeah, Albert's actually like probably one of my favorite grocery stores. Oh, thanks for the donation. I did. Yeah, let me read that out. Thanks, man. Read the. Where's it at? Let me redo it. What do you think of all these strong females acting like men tropes in movies these days? The recent Mario Galaxy movie makes me wonder if producers are out of touch or just delusional. Girls overshadowing men being shown to kids. Jesus Christ. I didn't even see the Mario Galaxy movie. I seen that it was like scheduled, but I didn't even I never seen where it was actually posted on the internet. Um but I think in America they can definitely get away with that. And I think the reason why America keeps pushing that is because if they because okay, I do think that these producers are out of touch, but I think they're out of touch on a different level. Like I think they're out of touch in trying to make media trying okay, what I think they're trying to do is make feminism the iPhone, right? And America's trying to get the first dibs on it before anybody else does. Now, where I think American media and producers are severely ignorant and just flat out dumb is that most of the rest of the world just doesn't play that or doesn't have time to play it. Like they just not gonna have time. Cause see what American feminism, and this is why I was talking to with that one female student I was talking to, cause she thinks she's into feminism, and and actually didn't get a chance to go deeper into it because it was like literally at the end of the lesson we were hanging out, and she's not coming back until the beginning of next month because she's on they're all on work vacation right now. What American media, because American media is very strong, by the way. I was sitting next to a dude on the bus, right? And he was watching Chicago gang news. So I assumed he was American, and he wasn't American. He was Czech. And we talked about it. He said he just likes to watch American news. So we talked about how the news, they can exaggerate and all that shit. Like he was a cool dude. Um, what American media doesn't understand and what the world doesn't understand is that when America pushes feminism, and let's say there's women in these other countries, in pretty much any other country that is hearing about feminism, well, all those women are really hearing is, yeah, how can we get more out of men, right? But that idea is coming from a completely ridiculous position. Like I was speaking with this younger girl. She's working at this, I forget what the company does, but they hired me to be the English teacher, and see, it's very poorly thought out for the rest of the world. Now again, American media will get girls like her, or pretty much any girl who hears, yeah, there's a movement coming where you'll get more free shit. Yeah, most women are gonna immediately, say, well, they gonna at least open their ears up for it, right? But the thing is, it's coming from very different mentalities. Like, say, for example, Czech woman mentality, right? In Czech Republic, yeah, it's a fact that women will get paid lesser here for the same jobs, but this does not take into account many other factors that Americans have no concept of or very little idea about, and it was not taken into account when they were pushing feminism, right? And it's almost the same thing as like Donald Trump. Like the world just unifies and hate Donald Trump, but the thing is, you're going to have Americans who, and I did explain this to her. No matter where you go, you're always going to have a group of people who are just bored, so they're just going to hate whatever they have everywhere you go. Czech people, you'll find a bunch of Czech people who hate Czech Republic. If you go to Germany, you'll find a bunch of Germans who hate Germany. And if you go to America, it's the same thing. And they think they're the laughing stock of the world. It's the same thing wherever you go. The only difference is America is on national television and everybody can understand English. So everybody thinks America is just the only ones that's doing it, right? But back to your question about what do I think? The feminine that it while it is trickling in over here, there's a lot of nuances that don't that are not factored in. So in America, the American people, the history went through feminism and women's liberation and all this, right? Now, after that, American media starts pushing that on the rest of the world. What American, let's just say producers, for lack of better words, what the American media and producers completely forget is, well, there was many countries that either just had no contact with the West world, so they never got any of that, or they were literally held behind the wall of communism, and therefore they could not have ever had contact with women's lib and feminism. So when these countries went through that, when these, let's say like Czech Republic, for example, like, well, since they were locked behind a wall of communism, well, their value systems were still in women being feminine. So they still take pride in their femininity, right? Whereas American women took pride in essentially failing as women. Like, women's failure is something to celebrate. Have you ever, like if you look in media, women failing at doing anything else except for being men is celebrated. So if a woman can swing, a baby axe, well, she's celebrated for that because she's strong now. But if a woman wants to stay home and cook food for her man, she must be trapped. She, is punishable, right? Okay. Whereas, like, let's say, let's say, pretty, like, okay, I'm just gonna use Czech Republic, but I'm gonna use Czech Republic. These countries that did not get absorbed in that women's liberation and feminism movement, since they were stuck behind communism, they never got any of that in their development, right? So their development became that they had more focus in caring how they appeared as women. They took more focus in looking and taking care of their bodies a little bit, at least a little bit better. These became, so women here were still celebrated for being women, right? See, so what the makers of the Mario Galaxy movie, because it's gonna be backed by America, okay? It's Japanese shit, but it's gonna be America, it's gonna be Western backed in some form. Right, that's just what it is. Because that's just the reality. Okay, to an extent, that's just the reality of it, even though it is Japanese shit. Um, um, real quick, because if America did not take on Mario wouldn't be, motherfuckers wouldn't know what Mario was. All right, let's just be real, because that American media can advertise around the world, so they've got to sync up with the U.S. in some form. So. But back to, like, let's say like a general communist country. Wherever you go to a general communist country, okay, what they don't tell you is that when the women are born, they're going to be taken care of by the country. Generally speaking, like they will be well taken care of by the country, right? See, now, an American feminism liberation. See, those women were used to not being taken care of unless they were on like shitty welfare and they were complete trash, right? Like, American women were not used; they didn't have any of those same comforts in life. So that feminism, from the core of being a woman, is being introduced to cultures in very different lights, in very different origins, and I do think that I I think while it is trickling in the rest of the world here or there, ultimately it will not be sustainable, let's say for a country like Czech Republic, because in the end the women are getting all this money for free. Women are getting more money for free overall. Well, women in America are going to get more money for free overall. Okay, meaning, for example, the young woman, she stated how it's a fact that men earn more than women, which is true. That is a fact over here. But that's also taking into account that, yeah, there are far less factory jobs over here. There's far less warehouse jobs. So the men have to go to work. Where are the men going to go to work? And one of these, essentially, Czech Republic is a welfare country. Okay, and that's a fact. Now, most Czechs will be mad to hear that, but you can't say that that's not true. When I say Czech Republic is a welfare, like Poland is a welfare country, meaning that the country literally could not survive if they did not take more than they received from the European Union. It is, or well, they could survive, but they'd be far worse off. So it's a welfare country by fact, right? There's no hiding it. So if let's say if Czech Republic were to give women maternity leave, um, the men who earn more, they're also paying more in taxes. The women are getting that for free because the women aren't working and not earning that much money. So if the men are working, earn that much money, and the men are paying more taxes, well, the women are reaping the benefits from all those taxes, right? So you got the free benefits from males' taxes. You got the maternity leave and everything that comes along with that, which is essentially three 3 to 4 years of a completely free life, right? If she wants to go date or anything, who pays? Because again, gender norms are still very strong here. The man's going to pay for everything, if not pay for the house, pay for the car, pay for the kids, whatever, right? Right? And then on top of that, they try to adopt American feminism to pay women more money. See, America has the money for that. But these other countries that America's trying to spread that on, they don't have the money for that. So you have these countries who are already welfare countries to start out with. They're just white. They're just white shenanigans. That's the only difference. They're white LaQuishas, so it's somehow easier to stomach in white collar worlds instead of it being black or brown LaQuishas. Now it's a problem, right? So you have an entire country of white LaQuishas who are welfare, who is essentially welfare recipients, and then on top of that, you're pushing in feminism on these countries who now will be pressured to pay women more, right? Where's that money gonna come from? You're already a welfare country to start out with. You don't have the money for that, right? So what's gonna happen if they do? I think if feminism, if the women end up, I don't think it would ever get this bad, but if it does, there's only one way it can turn out for countries like Czech Republic. If they do pay the women more, that means the only way out of that is they're going to have to pay men less. And whenever countries go through this situation in any kind of way, you're going to end up like a lot of those Asian countries where there's more women than men. And I was telling my wife this. You don't want that. Okay, because what's going to happen is any man who's going to be worth anything is going to leave that country to go work for more money. And it's not, and see, when I say these things that can sound misogynistic, I mean, you can say that, but these are just pure facts. It's not in women's nature to travel, especially alone. It never has been. That's a man thing. When women start traveling by themselves, that's a red flag in itself. Look at any poorer country. Look at any country that essentially Europe touched and destroyed it while they just extracted all their resources. Okay, what happened to that country when it was over? Any man who was worth anything got the fuck up out of there and went somewhere else and earned more money and probably sent a little back home to his family, but he stayed gone if he could. Which did what? Leave 3 women to every 1 man. Right? Then now what do you got? Now you have, okay, now when you leave a country full of women raising bastard kids from passport bros going over there to impregnate them and leave them in Thailand and the Philippines, well, what do you got now? Now you're going to have a whole generation of people raised by single mothers. Now, what's the next level of consequence? You're going to have an entire generation of people who are generally going to be uneducated. They're not going to have any sense of innovation or growth because they want to be comfortable all the time. And you're going to have an entire country full of essentially just slaves. Women are great at raising slaves. That's probably about the one area they excel at. Because a man's not going to deal with that shit. A woman will. Because it's comfortable. It's a really sad situation. And if Czech Republic does mess around, which I don't think I think Czech Republic will put its foot down. Either it would either beg Germany for more money or put its foot down, one of the two. Um, but when it's all said and done, I if that scenario were to happen, it would just end up like the Philippines. From what I know about the Philippines, it would end up the same thing. Women be running a line to go get with whatever man they could find, because all the decent men will get up and leave to go find much better paying jobs in other countries. White shit. Greece collapsed trying to fund women's hypergamy by overpaying men more to make them financially attractive. Well, yeah, Greece. That was one of the first countries I was interested in because Greece they historically had a huge tax problem from what I was reading about it. Greece's big problem was and it's long in their history where they historically from what I read about it, this was years ago, so I could be a little off, but from what I remember reading about it, is that they have a long history of not trusting their own neighbors because of tax evasion. I do remember this. It's tax evasion is supposedly so bad there that even to own your own swimming pool in your backyard, you have to pay a tax to own your own swimming pool because something's wrong with the water or something like that. So they have to pay taxes on the swimming pools in their backyard. And what I remember is only like I think it said only like 5 people actually paid taxes over a swimming pool, but you could like see through satellite imaging there was like hundreds of people who had a swimming pool where nobody paid taxes, and it ended up being just like a relatively lawless land on taxes. And from what I remember, I think I watched a YouTube video, so this is really with a grain of salt. I think the debt, Greece's debt was so bad that they had enough money to rebuild every highway in Europe 7 times. That's how bad the debt was. Now I remember that was from a YouTube video, so take that with a grain of salt because I can't verify. I never thought to verify that. So basically, when a country gets too feminized, whether it's getting poor or rich, men will leave. Yeah, at some point, yeah. What's up, Elijah Pippin? When a country gets too feminized, yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's two bad parts, and I was just speaking with a new student I had today, um, and that was where I was going to start my rant. We because he's an accountant, and we were talking about economics, and pretty much the two worst case scenarios, in my opinion, for people in a country, the two worst case scenarios is, well, of course, one is going to be feminized, and two, when that culture is highly agricultural or getting natural resources. If they get too focused on that, that's usually a death sentence. Like if they're only digging for minerals, if they only, if they're only if their primary focus is on digging and extracting natural resources and that's it, just to export that and that's it, that's a death sentence. Especially if the climate's warm. And sadly, like Africa is it has a lot of that. But that is a death sentence from so many different ways. And I've never been to Africa, so I can't speak on personal experiences. But looking at the data of how humans typically operate, that's rough. That's harsh. That's harsh. You have to diversify what you're doing. But the problem is when you end up with warm climates and then they have a natural resource, the people will just focus on that natural resource, and they will very rarely, generally speaking, I'm not just speaking about Africa, I'm talking speaking about South America too. They will once that natural resource runs out, they'll just completely crumble. Like that's just it. They'll just because if they're warm, they don't have to be inside and think about heating up or anything. They tend to be more relaxed, and that planning for the future is not introduced. So they don't have any diversification in their income or intelligence. It's just one way to actually get something of value, right? And this is where I was going to start my rant with the accountant, because we were talking and he said he started school and he left, and I was getting ready to get on him about it. I didn't know, but I was getting ready to get on him and tell him, look, like, you got to go back to school and finish school. And because he said something like he didn't feel like school was giving him what he wanted, so he went out and got a job. And he's 25. He said he's been an accountant for like 6 years, so I don't know how he got this job at 19, becoming an accountant. I don't know how he got that job. But I will always tell you to go to school. Go to preferably universities, but go to school. Diversify that shit. Don't end up these countries. Don't end up like countries are a good thing to learn from, because it is very complicated, but it's very simple if you give any type of critical thought. Even if you be wrong, it's still a good way to think. Because generally any country that fully relied on one major resource like that, and that was most of their income, like they unless they invested that money back in education, they usually would be fucked up. The only reason why America shot up was because, yeah, America, I think like half of their exports was in cotton that was done from slave labor. Half of their exports was done in that. But America did end up taking that money and dumping it back in education. That's why even now in America, when you go to the military, they going to pay for you to go to school. You going to get that money to go to school. It's that reinvestment cycle to keep people thinking and being able to adapt. Right? But yeah, because I was going to jump on him about it. But I didn't. I'm not second guessing myself. I just didn't want to come off as preaching to him. But dude, like, cause I'm 40 now, man. Like, you fuck around and see, like, he's 25 and I'm 40. If anybody's in this chat that's in their later 30s and 40s, this is gonna be this can possibly be a rough topic to talk about. But you start to see doors close on you the older you start getting. So when you're 25, ain't no doors closed yet. You still young and you still got next year to do something. But when you start getting 30, 35, 40, you start seeing doors starting to close on you. Based off of whatever you've done in your past, right? Doors start to close. Cause so with the student I had earlier today, he's 25 and he's an accountant. And he got a little job now working in Prague. And I mean, it's cool he has a job now, but there's no diversification in him. So while he's got this little cute job now, if that job give out, which a lot of jobs are giving out here in Prague, what's he gonna do next? It's a wonder he got that job. I have no idea how he got that one. There's no diversification in him. There's no sense of adapting or anything, because he's got that job that he originally tried to go to school for, dropped out, and got a job. There's nothing. There's not a whole lot after that to work with, right? And I'm not saying he can't go get another job. What I'm saying is he's is pigeonhole the right word? He's pigeonholing himself into one thing. He's digging up bird shit. What's that country? Maury. I meant to talk about this a while back. This country, Nauru. I always forget the name of it. This country. So if you ever wanted to Think about it. Yep, and it's warm. That's what I said. If it's warm there, it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit there. I mean Celsius there. And every time, this is always. I'm telling you, dude. This is always not always, but this is generally. Yep, it's warm there right now. Warm countries, they get that one thing to mine or extract. They're gonna mine that shit to death and then be fucked up when it's done. So if you ever get if you ever want to verify like some of the logic or some of the reason why I say go to school and all that, look into this country and what they did. This is what happens when you don't invest anything in education and you win the lottery for 5 years straight. This country should be this country should be the figure of what of this should be the scared straight program. So long story short, what this country actually did was they were pretty much like fucked up the whole time, right? So they I got really into this country. Actually, this is around the time I was reading about Greece. I got really into this country. They ended up having, I think I told this story a long time ago. Like on a big chunk of their island, they had a bunch of bird shit. Just a ton of it, right? Because the birds would just fly there and just shit all over the goddamn place. Well, that bird shit was actually very valuable. And it led to mining. So people would come there and mine all the bird shit from these motherfuckers that they say how it this didn't devastate the island. Okay, see, this is where it was one of the wealthiest countries. Yeah. Nauru was once one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but became one of the poorest after its phosphate reserves were depleted. Strip mining degraded Nauru's environment to the point there is no more fertile land in the country. Loss of arable lands led Nauruians to consume mostly processed foods imported from the West, which increased rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes in the world. Okay, what happened, at least from when I was studying this, they weren't highly educated to start out with. And they fucked around and found out that they could sell bird shit for like crazy prices. So they did essentially what West Africa did. They went in and they just mined the hell out of it. Right? And they was balling out for like 10 years. They was Rick James in it for like 10 years, right? I think their average wage was like the equivalent of literally the average wage of every person there. It was a smaller island. The average wage of every person there at the time was the equivalent of earning $300,000 per year, right? And they invested very little into their own education system, very little into their own people. They tried to do some little bullshit abroad. Of course, they got raped because they didn't know what the fuck they was doing, right? And as soon as that money dried up, that was it. It became the poorest because of its phosphate reserves was depleted. But look, no, okay, but this feeds my point. Yeah, the reserves were gone, and they had nothing. They didn't plan at all for the future. There was no thinking. It was just, yeah, let's just buy Ferraris now. They spinning. Look at the rims. That's all they was doing. Right? And that was it. And you can't blame them. Yeah, and then they end up getting fat because throughout that time, they literally did nothing for self-improvement. So they don't know how to cook. They didn't invest in trying to grow anything on their own. They didn't invest in any thought into themselves. They just went out and bought Gucci and Louis Vuitton. And sadly for them, they weren't white, so they're not going to get that added benefit of you, like how Ukraine got. So they're just going to be left to die. Right. All right, well, here's a can of macaroni and cheese, bitch. Eat it and get diabetes. Fuck you. That's what you're getting ready to get. Like, but yeah, I highly recommend read the story of these people. when you think about finances and these kind of things, and when you see that pair of shoes you want and all that, read the story of this country and read between the lines of what really happened. That'll set you straight. You got to think for the future. Well, yeah, Eric, yeah, I agree with that. Now, yeah, and that is true. That is true. Economists call that the resource curse, the effect of colonialism set up economies that give wealth to distant countries rather than. But yeah, 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 and that is one of the few areas where North America did do. Okay, when North America colonizes, North America is about the only country that I know of that actually does it in any proper way. That was actually gone over in Machiavelli. I forget the name of that book, but Machiavelli actually spoke about that. What's the proper way to colonize people? And he said you have to send your people there to live there in some kind of way. You have to change their you have to intermingle in their culture. And where like pretty much every other country completely failed at, or in one form or another, was like you said, they would go there, they would literally just give wealth to like a handful of people, and just extract all the resources, which all that really did was make those now rich handful of natives just go out and abuse all the poor natives, and they just end up in a constant fight for centuries after that. Like they never really resolve anything. And on top of that, and then on top of that, if you don't believe them with some type of educational institution or anything, like they're just dead in the water. Like they'll just it's over for them. They'll never. I mean, look at Africa right now. Like even now, like they're like a lot of Africa's issues now, at least from my relatively ignorant perspective of only reading about it. But a lot of these situations a lot of that lack of trustworthiness and all that comes from the collapse of the slave trade. And then when they did go there and mine stuff, there was never any when they would come there and mine stuff, there was never any sense of like actually trying to build up communities. They would just go directly to the place, mine, and leave. So there would be nothing left for the people to actually work with except for guns, liquor, and this type of shit, right? So it's like, who do you really blame in that? I mean, yeah, like on one hand, like it is fucked up, but on the other hand, like you know it takes two to tango with that. Like it's not it wasn't the year. Okay, now and on one hand, I will say yeah, wherever Europe did go, they destroy whatever they touch. But on the other hand of it, it there is some responsibility on the other side to maintain themselves in some kind of way, and most places didn't do that. Let's be real about it. They gave that money to that handful of people there, and the handful of people abused everybody else in that area, right? But yeah, and you can't just give wealth to people. Like somebody asked me a while back, what do I think about reparations? And I think reparations in the form that most African Americans are thinking about, I think that's the worst thing you could do. You just cut a check for $1 million to every black person in America and give them a bunch of land. That's the worst thing. I think that's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Cause you gonna end up like these Neruians. How you pronounce this shit? You end up like these motherfuckers. They ain't know what they was doing 5 minutes before they had the money, and they ain't gonna know what they do. And as soon as that money runs out, they gonna go catch an extra shift at the plant next week. I remember there was some guys on my street. It was some gypsies on my street, right? And I told because I was walking with my spouse up the street because we got an argument later that night about it, right? We was walking up the street with my son, and it was this group of gypsies. Then they got in this old Volkswagen with like the tinted windows were peeling off. It was borderline piece of shit Volkswagen. I just looked at it. I went, oh. And she said, what? I said, I'll tell you when we get home. I remember when that group of gypsies, they had bought this new Mercedes, and they had it parked out front of a building. They was all taking pictures of it, and they wanted everybody to see them with the Mercedes and all this shit like that, right? And it was nice. It was that exact group. And I told her, I said, look, chances are, what happened was they got a little sum of money, and 5 minutes after that money was gone, they had to go catch an extra shift at the plant. And she got mad because she know I'm talking about her because she does the same shit, right? She'll get a sum of money and spend every penny of it, and be scrambling to catch an extra to go out there and go get an extra shift, scrambling. You know what I mean? The worst thing you can do for most people is go ahead and cut them a check. Most people. That's the worst thing you can do. Is to just give them something when they genuinely didn't earn it on any merit. Because we be falling out. I remember about 2 weeks ago, I was going off about how annoying I find it, right? When let's say like somebody like my brother or pretty much most of my family on my dad's side, right? Like I just get too frustrated with him. I can't talk to him because I get super annoyed by African Americans in this regard. And this is where I side with the Africans. When Africans don't like African Americans, like this is where I side with them with this, is that the African Americans have all the opportunity and they just be fucking it over. They just be jacking it off, right? Trying to sound cool and sound like thugs and shit. And this is now I will stand on the side with the Africans on this 100%. Because if you are in North America, you don't know what poverty is. I don't care how cool you try to talk, how much liquor you can drink, how much you can have your pants sagging, look like you want to get fucked in the ass. All right, I don't care whatever image you can try to portray that you're some type of like hardened thug and all this. You do not know what poverty is. Okay. I will take any of those toughest black American dudes and show them what real poverty is. Okay, in America, you're poor, but this is not poverty. Okay, the difference between poor and poverty is hopelessness. Is true hopelessness. Okay, not that faggotry hopelessness that these rappers are trying to portray in images. That's faggotry hopelessness. This is imagery hopelessness. That to sound cool. When I say hopeless, no American knows. Okay, unless you're being chained in a basement by lock and key and you don't know where you are, you don't know what hopeless. Or let's say you have like a severely bad terminal disease, something like that. You don't know what hopeless is. I can show you where hope, and I didn't even see like the worst of shit, but I can take you where hopelessness is. So when I hear like, or my spouse, she was talking about she don't want to go to college, because and all this, and because, or my brother, he don't want to go to college because he just wouldn't fit in. I just don't like bullshit. Somebody he don't want to go to college because he don't feel comfortable. See, that's not hopelessness. He's trying to sound cool. And it's pathetic. Any of those rappers can sound cool and all that, and this and that. Any rapper from Master P got his shit together, so he don't count. But any rapper that's trying to push that whole I'm from the hood, from the streets, any one of those rappers could have went and gone to college. Any single one of them. Especially the ones living in cities, because that's where most of them gonna live, in a city. They could have went. They just didn't want to go because it wasn't cool. They couldn't look cool and sound cool going to college. Now, I will take any one of those hardcore, I'm a street thug, yeah, man, I had it hard living in the projects, and I will take them to go show them what hopelessness is for real. I remember one of my friends, This dude grew up an orphan in the system, and he went to prison. And I've seen his prison history, and he thought he would just carry himself around the college campus. This was at community college. And he would always try to carry himself like he was like, the most independent, hardcore dude, right? The sad part with these guys that like that, and I was there with him when he cracked, is that they can hide behind that image as long as they're in their comfort safety net of where they know. But as soon as you take them out of there, they're a dog with a tail between his legs. So I remember I wanted to drive to New York City, and I called him, and he was the only person who was completely down to go to New York City. So I ended up driving the whole way because as we got on the highway, I found out he didn't actually know how to drive. So I drove the whole way to New York City from Ohio. And when we got to New York, he was so rattled that he literally followed me. Like, I'm talking like on my back everywhere. He was scared to walk off anywhere by himself. He wouldn't do it. And we weren't even we were in Manhattan. It was in this nice place. He could not leave my side. He was terrified, completely terrified. And that's why I tell my spouse, like I don't feel sorry for homeless people here. I don't feel sorry. Europe has a lot more social systems set in place. So like I don't feel. I mean, unless there was a really weird situation. Look, this is just laziness. Unless there's a really weird situation, because like I said, now because I was telling her, I remember, like pretty much once you leave like Buenos Aires in Argentina, it can get pretty rough, relatively quickly, especially compared to like America and Czech Republic. It's definitely not like super duper super crazy rough, but you notice it kind of thing. And I still remember riding up. We was in a bus and we was riding up this long street. I mean, it was real long, and it was people just out there walking. You could tell they's probably going to work, right? But I mean, that street was so long. There was, I mean, them people had to walk probably a good hour and a half. There was nothing there. Like there was no street because I remember like recording in my mind. Is there anywhere for these motherfuckers to get off at? And it was just and it was regular people, but they was walking more likely to work. There is no university out there. All right, there is nothing. Them people, look, those people out there would dream to be housekeeping in a decent hotel. Like seriously, that's like a dream job once you get out into these areas. And then you got these Americans trying to like like these black dudes in America trying to make it sound cool that that they tough and they drinking a lot and this and that. Like, dude, shut the fuck. Like, where university, you just don't want to go for whatever reason. Like, you just don't want to go. There's some program you can do or something like that. You don't have to be there is something for you to do. You're just choosing not to do it because it's not comfortable. And that's where I got like with that whole poor shit. It pisses me off. All a thug is a conformist. What's up, Simon Lewis? Poverty is a mentality more than anything else. There's not enough money in the world to fix African Americans. They have to muster the will up themselves and become an actual faction. Yeah, but poverty, like African Americans are poor, and the thing is like there is a reason for it. Um, but it's really like a sick. It's a sick image. Okay, let's say for example, like Czech Republic, right? Now I'm gonna use this in like the other light, right? Like because on a whole, Czech Republic is essentially the same thing as African Americans. Like they're very similar in the broader scheme of things. They're like okay on average, in general average, especially the stereotypes. It's it's a culture that's surviving off of welfare, who served in the past, and they're mad that they never got what they deserved. So they'll always kind of hold that against the world, right? So instead of coming together and actually building up, what you really have that happens in these types of mentalities is they'll just compete with each other and kind of forget the world and just expect a handout from the world and compete with each other. So like, so for example, I was talking to a student today, and I was telling him my experiences of getting a watch battery fixed. And every time I would ask to get a replacement for a watch battery, the the worker would like almost give me an attitude, as if I was asking to do something like wipe my ass or something. And I'm in a watch store, you know what I mean? And so what you have happen here is that like they still highly judge each other based off their profession and if they look classy and all this. Like they're severely focused on that. So in Czech Republic, the main factor of being respected is to dress nicer because you can simulate looking like an elite person. Right now, the sick part is that there is nothing. Czech Republic has literally no elite power in the world. See, you see how that disconnect? It's like they have none. It's a welfare country. They have no weight in the world, but they severely judge each other on that. And they'll keep and as long as they keep fighting each other, they will never grow. They will never come together and unite and actually develop something. So I came up with my opinion on what Czech Republic should do. Um, my opinion on what Czech Republic should do to fix that is to do whatever they got to do to own however much land it takes to get to the ocean to where they can export and import whatever they want. And they ain't got to, so they dig through Germany, or they dig through what, I don't know what country south of here they dig through, or look, they come up with some deal with any neighboring country to just get like like a skinny strip of land that can just run train tracks to the water, and build them a little, a pier, whatever the fuck you call it, at the end of that train track where they can import and export whatever they want. And that'll slowly change because now they'll be able to import and export whatever they want. So now they don't have to beg Germany or beg France or beg Italy or whoever the fuck they got to beg to get shit imported here and pay 2 times the amount of taxes on it. That would fix it. I think that would slowly fix it. But until then, they're just always going to be dependent. And if you're always dependent, there's a very low chance once you become dependent, now you're a good slave. Okay, because you're dependent now. You depend on someone else for your livelihood. Now that makes you the best slave in the market. That's just it. But yeah, back to the U.S. Like with my dad's side of the family, like it's always an excuse. It's always an excuse. Always. If you talk to everybody in my family about why they didn't do something, it's always, most of them would never say because I fucked up. Most of them would. I mean, in a confident way, like, yeah, I fucked that up. You won't hear it. They stubbed their toe or something like that. It's always going to be something, and that's why I don't talk to them much. It's always an excuse. And now here's the other part. It's gotten so sick that now I'm the family member who, graduated from college multiple times. I did go to the military, and now I'm living in Europe, and I have a son in Europe, right? So now what that incidentally triggered was, now there's so much of my family coming up with just blatant lies about what they could have done in their past, like things that never came up before, right? Because I think they're intimidated by me. So now I'm getting stories of like people are like trying to measure up to me now, kind of thing, because I guess I kind of set the bar like higher, and it's like. And because I think I said like last week or 2 weeks ago that my aunt, her grandchildren child called me. He's like 30, wanting to talk. And like honestly, like I don't know what to say to the dude because he's 30 years old. He never did anything with his life. He's probably working some dead end job. I mean, if I tell him the truth, he's just gonna get mad because now he has to acknowledge what he's done with his life, and he's gonna get mad at me about it. I can't do anything. It's all what good is there for me to talk? Because I know why he's wanting to call me, why he wants to talk to me. All it's gonna turn into the same shit like me and my brother. It's gonna turn into um, inevitably asking me for something, which I'm gonna say no because I don't have a problem with saying no, and then they're gonna be mad at me because I don't have a problem saying no. So for anybody younger out there, go to school, man. Go to school. Anybody out there, well, anybody, if you didn't go to school when you was younger, go to school now. Because if you don't, them doors are gonna start closing on you. Trust me. If you don't go to school now and complete, when you start getting older, that's when it starts to get sick. Do it the younger you are. Do it the younger you are. But if not, go now. Because as soon as you cut that school out of you, now you're gonna start losing them connections in schools. You're gonna start losing connections with intelligent motherfuckers who are creative, who are outgoing. You're gonna lose all those connections. And the real world gets grim really fast. The further you get away from universities is the worse your possibilities in life get. You gonna get so bad you gonna dream to be able to be a driver for Krispy Kreme or something like that. That shit gets grim. Go to school and pick something that interests you. Go after 23. Yes, you could be independent. Go after 23. I just don't like when they run lottery fantasies to get ahead in life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the other thing I want to say too, man. Like, don't try to cheat the system. Like, my opinion, play in both worlds. Like, see, when I was in school. I I would always try to learn something from both sides. So like if you learn so like for example, I remember when I got my concealed carry. This is when you had to get a concealed carry in Ohio. I went and got a concealed carry, and then I would also go buy a bunch of like health equipment, like how to test my own blood pressure, shit like that, and then train on myself. I remember I got a stethoscope, how to test my own blood pressure, and I taught myself how to do all that from the internet. Like learn both sides. Whatever you do, learn both extremes of it. That way, now you know what it all could be, right? I was just talking to another friend of mine. If you watching, man, I don't know if you watching, but like read the Bible and then read the Satanic Bible. Read both, so now you know what the extremes are and how things are interpreted. Read both, so it's because when you read both extremes, now you get this far better um, perspective on the whole situation. Because if you only listen to one, they'll make up lies about the other one. And you only listen to the other one, they'll make up lies about that one. So when you read it and you can generally know about the Satanic Bible and then any normal Bible, now you know what it's all about and where it's getting at. And all those questions, because here's the thing, you're only afraid of what you don't know. And religions are great for putting fear into people. That's how religions thrive, is from fear. And see, as long as you can stay afraid, then they got you 100%. But if you stay knowledgeable, well, now you know, oh, like that's all it was. That's all they was really saying, blah blah blah. And it's no big deal after that. Now you can properly choose the path you want to go. But if you don't have that well-rounded sense of knowledge, you're always going to be held captive by the one that you did read or know or whatever you want to say. The one side that you went, you're always going to be held. You're always not kidnapped. What's the word I'm looking for? You're essentially always going to be held by them out of fear. Go to the military, then, bro. It sucks, but my school is free now. Instead of when I started off with no pay for it or work while you're in school, but you can't just do, Flickay, you can't just do nothing. Some don't have social network skills to be able to properly get them the full benefits of connections. Also, many don't have any skills other than any skills to offer the person they might have met that can. No, street genius. If you're just out there, just get out there. It may not even be you doing it. You may stumble into becoming friends with somebody, and they'll stumble into becoming friends with somebody, and that's how you end up. And you have to just get out there. Get in that. Just get out there in that group of people some way, and sooner or later something's gonna happen. Okay, you have a much better chance trying it than never ever touching it. You have to go out there. Don't worry about being socially awkward. Because here's the thing, man. If you're socially awkward in your head, but I may not even think you're socially awkward. You have to get up and try. Don't worry about failing. That's what I told my spouse, man. I said, look, like I don't have a problem with you failing. I got a problem with her not trying. That's my problem. If you don't try, that's where I'm going to have a problem. Go out there and fail. Because even in failure, now you have something to come back and work with. But if you didn't even try and sitting around trying to be perfect, try. Try, fail, and you'll eventually get there. Getting the GI Bill was the best thing that happened to me. Yeah. You have to do it. Yeah. You got to get out there and do something. You have to. Or else if you don't get out there and try, I mean, there's a chance you can probably stumble into something in regular life, but if you don't go out there and try, there's a very good chance you're going to end up 30, 35, 40 sitting around dreaming of what your life could have been. And you know what? You're going to end up, if there's a good chance you're going to end up that dude living in his imagination of what could have been. And you know how depressing and sad that is? Yo, I seen that the notification. I don't know if you want me to say your name, man, but I see the $30 for the current video. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I don't know if you want me to say your name on live stream, but thanks, man. I got it. Hey, Wendell, are you still happy with your decision to live in Czech Republic? I mean, if I didn't have a son, I probably wouldn't be here anymore. I don't regret coming here at all. I'm just tired. I'm tired of honestly, I'm tired of being black in Europe. And I don't mean that in like a super negative way, because I'm tired of being black in Europe because of how Americans would perceive racism. Because sometimes, I'll admit, sometimes it maybe isn't racism. Maybe it's me bringing that shit here from North America. I was talking to actually one of my students today. He's a professor at a university down in Brno. And we were talking about this today. Because I was talking about the battery situation. And I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, maybe I'm making a mistake. Maybe because I can possibly take it as racism. And he goes, oh, no, that's not racism. You know, no. And and the next sentence, in America, we would call this complete racism. But they don't, I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's just like racism so deep in them that they can't see it, or I don't know. But literally the next sentence what he goes yeah, well, since we're being honest, no, he goes, no, you don't even look like a gypsy. You look American. And I could tell he wanted to say you don't even look African. I could tell that's what he wanted to say, but he didn't say it. He's a real nice guy. He's a great guy to talk to. I love hanging out with him. But I could tell he wanted to say you don't even look African. You look American. But he did say you don't look gypsy because the reason why he started off with that because again, like, Europeans know that the word gypsy is not a good word. It's a slur. Actually, I was hanging out with those two girls. What's today? Because I go to Tuesday. After our class, I was hanging out with these two girls. Every girl in there is just beautiful. I always hang out with these two after class and talk to them for a minute outside. But it was cold, so we break ways and leave. And they were talking because the one girl, she's from Northern Czech Republic. So I said, "Oh, word, like I heard it's kind of rough up there." Because Northern Czech Republic had this really bad issue when Hitler was alive because it was called the Sudetens or something like that. I always pronounce it wrong. But what happened was Northern Czech Republic was pretty much mostly inhabited by Germans who were working, and they were highly skilled workers, relatively highly skilled workers in Northern Czech Republic. Well, Hitler had essentially, I think I always get this word wrong. He annexed that top part of Czech Republic, and Czech Republic got severely upset because they seen it as Germany taking Northern Czech Republic from them. When in reality, like, Germans were doing it was primarily all German in Northern Czech. That's why many Czechs still have a lot of German in them, is because of that time period. Well, the Czechs retaliated by, like, literally just, like, either killing them or kicking them out of, like, and they never bring this up. When you talk about Hitler, they always keep very quiet about this. But the Czechs retaliated by just beating them up, running them out, burning their houses down, running them out the whole northern part. Well, the reality of it is, when the Czechs did that, the only inhabitants that took over were very low educated. Historically, they're a lower educated group, so that's all that was up there, was just lesser educated, lower educated Czechs. And it's just white trash land up there now. So Americans know what I mean by white trash. It's just, so I've never been, but whenever I seen anybody talk about Northern Czech Republic, they say don't buy property up there because they're just trash. Like, they don't pay rent. They're horrible. Like, and she's from there, and she's a beautiful girl. I said, yeah, I heard that's rough up there. She goes, oh yeah, it's rough up there. And she says, yeah, we have a lot of Roma. And the other girl, no, she said, we have a lot of gypsies. And the other girl was like, no, you can't say that word. And she goes, well, he knows what I mean, and he's black. So, and I get what she means. Like, I get their perspective, because they know that, like, since I'm black, like, the being a black guy here is such an additional complication to where I'm just burnt out. Like, I wouldn't call, because here's the thing. I actually like this girl. I like all the girls in there, but this girl really kind of grabbed my attention because she shows initiative to do things. The other girl does too, but this one I really like this one. And she was saying, oh no, he's black, so he's fine, blah 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 blah. And the other girl was saying, no, well, technically, like, gypsy is a slur. Like, she literally said gypsy. He's saying gypsy is a slur. And she goes, no, it's okay. He's black, so he knows, he's fine, blah, blah, blah. And we stand outside and talk for like 15, 20 minutes every Tuesday after class. But honestly, the reason I got on that rant is because, yeah, just being black in Czech Republic is just like, it's really just this additional complication of just existing that just gets so annoying to points where, like, I don't even want to go outside some days. I just don't even want to risk somebody staring at me or something, even if it's a good looking girl. It's just awkward to be stared at, and I know why they're staring at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such this additional complication because they're just like, Europe on a whole is not very, despite what history tried to really push about Europe, they're just very uncultured people when it comes to this. Like, they're not used to seeing anyone who's not white. So it's like it's just this constant conflict. Actually, I know this other girl. She's American, by the way. I just got her name. I didn't. I never knew her name. Her son goes to the same school that my son goes to. So and she's fully American. And because we sit outside of Lidl sometimes, and she gets coffee, and I get my apple chips, and we be chilling. We just be sitting there talking. And she she's from California, and uh she asked me what did I think she was, like race wise, and I said Mexican. You know, and as an American, if you see like a tan motherfucker like that who clearly isn't black, like they're Mexican, unless they're like clearly Indian or something like that, Mexican. And she goes, yeah, people always. She said, yeah, people always thought I was Mexican, but actually she's half Spanish, and her mom is actually like white Spanish. Like she doesn't look brown at all, but like her grandmother was like a darker complexion Spanish. So she got her skin tone from her grandmother because her dad's like I think her dad's Irish. That's how we became closer because when I was in Ireland, this is something I didn't know about Ireland. Is that Ireland? You know, they're still the country is still into their like Gaelic, if that's the proper name for the Gaelic language. So like on every street sign you'll see in Ireland, there'll always be English and then like their language underneath it, the Gaelic shit, which is like so difficult to try to learn. I only remember Ihowa, which I'm probably pronouncing horribly because of Iowa. I think it's Ihowa, which is like good evening or something like that. Their language is so hard to learn if you didn't grow up with it or study it. Like you can't just learn that shit on the street. You know, it's well. And so I told her this is before I knew her dad was Irish, and she goes, oh well, you know more of it than I do, and that's how we became like closer like that. But she told me that um her that when she's in Prague, since she as an American we would call her Mexican, that tan, that darker tan complexion, but no like black features. She's definitely not black, and she gets mistaken for gypsy here, and like she's told me stories how people just like go off on her or treat her poorly because they initially think she's gypsy until she speaks fluent English, and then it's like, oh, and then she gets automatically treated like a human again. And it's these scenarios of being in Europe that I just like. And here's the thing, there's some great Europeans. I met a few great ones actually that same Tuesday when I was talking to those girls on because I ride the bus there because the traffic can get so bad. I'm never driving to that location on the way back, so I just catch the bus there because the bus has their own lane, so you get it's faster. So I met people on the bus and talked to them. There's great Czech people here, but it's just that occurrence when you come across these situations that it just gets so annoyingly disgusting. Or like they'll clearly treat you like shit until they see your passport, or they'll hear your American English, and then they'll treat you like a human. It's these areas where I'm just like, I'm just tired. I've just grown disgusted more than anything. And if I were to leave Czech Republic and I didn't have a son, I would never come back to Europe, to be honest with you. Um, there's a very low chance. Or if I did, it would be strictly just for like a holiday week or something like that, just to fuck white bitches again, and then I'd be on the first plane out. Like I have none. I'm done. Maybe somewhere like Portugal or Spain. I might try Spain, but maybe Portugal. But like, even here's the thing: I like Portugal, but I can still kind of feel it there too. Like I'm just it's just such a complication, and I don't want to have to rely on being American and making sure they know I'm American before I'm sure they'll treat me with some respect, kind of thing. I don't want to have to rely on that. And then it's terrible because like what if I was Nigerian? Does that mean it's okay for you to treat me like that? Like it's really just an awful, you know what I mean? It's just a terrible continent if you're not white. Like if you're not white, like, I hate to phrase it like that. But that's I mean, like I said, it's not all. There's some great Europeans here. Actually, I met a dude. His name was Nicholas, I think his name was. We was talking. He spoke fluent English. He said he worked at an American company in Prague. He was a great dude. Talked to him the whole way. So when it's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it's like, oh my God. Like, do I like I feel like I'm living in the fucking 60s sometimes. This motherfucker, man. Where else would you go? I was planning a trip to either Vietnam or because honestly, I want to go to an Asian country mostly because I've always heard stories about how they serve like really good food for like relatively very cheap prices. So I really want to go to an Asian country because I want seafood and I want just like a good Asian food. Um, so I was really thinking about Vietnam. Here's the thing. I really want to go. I've always heard great stories about Thailand, but I don't like that reputation that Thailand has. You know what I mean? So that's why I'll be like, I want to go, but it's like I'm not trying to go there to find bitches. You know what I mean? Like I just want to eat some good food and you know what I mean and just chill the fuck out. And if I meet a girl there, and okay, but like I'm not going to go meet. I didn't come to Czech Republic to meet women. Okay, that was not my intention when I came. I came to Czech Republic literally because I was doing absolutely nothing with my life after graduating from college. I was playing Metal Gear Solid 5 online all day and drinking Ardolph, whatever that whiskey is. I was drinking. I was getting drunk all day and playing Metal Gear Solid 5 online on my desktop PC that I still have most of the parts here right now. That's all I was doing all day, every day, because I had my military money coming in, so I could keep my rent paid. I didn't have to go to work, um, and so I just bought a random ticket to go to Czech Republic. I applied to teach English online. I was dating this Asian. Actually, I was dating a South Korean girl at the time, and she was working on her doctorate degree. And I remember this. She told me that because we met on OkCupid, and she told me that first she set her requirements to any guy with a doctorate degree, and there was like 3 guys in a dating app with a doctorate. So she lowered it to a master's degree, and that's where she found me. And we started when we were dating in that time period. And then I was dating this black girl, but this black girl was like gorgeous. We met on, I think, Bumble, I think it was, and she looked much better in real life. She was like okay in her profile, and then she wanted to video chat before we met, and we video chatted, and she was still like okay in the video. She wasn't like fat or anything, but she really wasn't like my type. And then when I met her, we went to the what's that comedy club that's very popular. It was one in the Green in Dayton, Ohio, and we went to Funny Bone. We went to She wanted to go to Funny Bone. I'd never been to a comedy club before, and when I seen her, she looked like a hot porn star. I mean, she was like perfection. And I very rarely even got matches in online dating, but the few times I did get matches and actually met them, they were like legit. Like, you know what I mean? They were completely legit. And we went to Funny Bone and we had a great time. And she had a dog. I remember she had a small dog, and she would come over and bring her dog with her. We just hang out. Um, but yeah. And as I came to Czech Republic, I didn't come here to find a woman. Um, I like that was not. I was not thinking. I was not thinking Czech woman when at any moment when I was buying a ticket or looking in the Czech Republic or anything. There was never a thought of Czech woman the whole time. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't go wherever I do travel next. I'm not gonna go because of the women. I'm gonna go for pretty much everything else. What's a good day to call? Set up a call and catch up. Oh man, what's today's Thursday? It's probably next week sometime because I'm probably gonna be with my son all weekend and he's gonna be loud and screaming, especially if his mom's here. He act like he'll go to sleep if it's just me talking on the phone, but if she's here, he's gonna be ridiculous. That's sad that black people in Europe doesn't get baseline respect until they know they're from a richer country. Oh, 100% the Uno, 100%. Yeah, I don't think there's a black person who would disagree with that in Europe. I don't think there's not one who would disagree with that. Yeah, that is 100% fact. Yeah, once they find out, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's not every single person. Like, it's definitely not every single person, but generally, yeah. Like you will immediately notice better senses of respect once they know you're like American or just from like I would say especially American. Because here's the thing, and I hate to say this, but it's just reality. Like, because I've been meaning to call King's Riches. I keep seeing him show up in my feed talking to some girl. I be meaning to call him. I just never call or even write him. But um, British guys can still get that situation of, oh, like, yeah, you're really poor, or your family just came here from Africa, kind of thing, right? They could still possibly get that, your family's, if you're black and you're in the UK or Ireland, like your family must have really been poor, but they just migrated here for a better life, kind of thing, right? They could still get that. So like, in my honest opinion, I think like black guys from like the UK and Ireland are still like seen as like lower, but like an American black guy, even though they do know about slavery, like we don't get that whole, oh, your family must have immigrated to America thing, right? Like that part doesn't really hit. It's left out. So like we're just American to them, unless they're like super racist. Say, well, you were just a slave, kind of thing. Like that would be like a super racist person. But like the average, once they hear you're American, you're not good as white, but you definitely moved up in the social hierarchy. Again, which is fucked up. Because one of my friends, actually, the friend I told y'all I loaned $50 about 2 months ago, he did write me finally. And the only reason why I fuck with him is because he is Nigerian. And I know he's told me stories of him being treated certain ways that like I would have never went through. Like they would have never treated me like that. Because I know he's good, because he is Nigerian and he looks Nigerian. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I fuck with him is because I know in Europe he gonna be judged, and he is gonna get he's pretty much at the bottom of the social hierarchy in Europe, unless he gets lucky and finds just some good people. He's at the bottom of the social hierarchy. So I fuck with him just out of respect of his position and all this. If he was white, I wouldn't fuck with him. Yeah, I mean, because he's a little questionable. But he's at the low of the social hierarchy out here. So I'll give him chances. I have patience with him. I just roll my eyes every time I was there. They mad passive aggressive. If you raise your voice, they back. Oh yeah, yeah. Europeans aren't confrontive at all. Yeah, no, they're. I mean, you can always find some anywhere, but like generally, no. Europeans aren't. They're not a confront. Europe's history, since because Europe spent so many years killing each other that they kind of like died down, and it just their culture promotes social order more than anything else. So they're not gonna like get in fights with you or anything. They just might say something. They might slip in some fucked up shit from time to time, but they're not gonna get into like if you like square up with one, like they'll rather run away than fight for sure. And I didn't want to tell this story, but this happened probably about a week ago. I was bringing my home back from school, and we had to ride the train, the underground train, right? I didn't want to bring this story up because I don't like talking like this. But my son was sitting on a chair. Okay, there was this white dude. Of course, he's white. He was sitting in this chair like across from me, and my son wanted to sit next to him, but the dude's leg was like hanging over the chair, and my son went over there and sat down, and I'm thinking like, okay, is he gonna move his leg over to his side of the chair? And he just left his leg over there. So I reached out and pushed his leg over, and then he hit me with one of them feminine like attitudes. So then like I just went and squared up with him like this, like and sat and stared at him just like this. And then he just went back and then stared at his phone, act like he couldn't see me. Because now, me 10 years ago, I know what I would have done 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I would have been like, I know exactly what I would have said. I would have said, don't make me beat your fucking ass in this train right now. Like 10 years ago, I would have said that. Now I've calmed down a lot. Even if I knew I couldn't beat him up, I would have said that shit just to get in his head. I've calmed down a lot. The last time I actually raised my voice was when she was pregnant. And this is when I first realized I had lost my edge. We were crossing the street to go to this burger joint. And this white dude, gets in the car, starts it up, and pulls off real fast and like was too close to be driving that fast close to me, right? And I think I said yo, like what are you doing or something like that. So then he stops and he keeps trying to talk. I said, man, get the fuck out of here. Like I'm like yelling at him in the car. I'm like go. And he keeps trying to talk. And I'm saying go. And my girl, she was like walking right next to me. She was pregnant. And he keeps talking. And that's when I realized I lost my edge, because I knew that usually I would not say go 3 or 4. Usually I would probably just would have punched him in the face right there. Like just start going off on him, like, because he's sitting in the car with the window down, so it's nothing he really could have done. You know what I mean? Like, and that's when I knew, like, I really lost my edge in these streets. You know what I mean? And then he finally drives off, and again, like, they're not confronting. So my girl, she was all excited. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm so pumped right now." And she was all excited about it, you know. But that's when I knew I had lost my. So she was pregnant. This was like 4 years ago. That's when I knew I lost my edge. I knew it at that point. Man, I don't like telling those stories. There was one time I did square up with a dude, and yeah, he completely ran away. Well, yeah. I don't like telling these stories. In California, if you got a problem, we gonna square up and run that. Yeah, Mo, exactly. Yeah, if there's a problem, yeah, you better know how to square up. That's normal. I think that's normal. There was another dude. He used to, I don't know if he's still here. He used to watch me, and he told me a story. He's from the UK, and from what I understand, they're like Americans with this. Like, yo, if you do something that's fucked up, and you don't apologize for that shit, that is now open grounds for somebody to get their ass beat by any means possible, right? And I was completely agree. He said he was trying to rent an apartment, and the people was like trying to scam him out the money for the apartment because he was just moving here. And I was completely agreeing with him. He's from Britain, you know what I mean? But I was like, yo, like I'm on your side 100%. Like, yeah, beat it, go get I'll come with you at that point, because he knew what he did. See, that sense of accountability and all that. See, out here, like, they're too used to like running and playing victim too fast. You know what I mean? Like, they used to always kind of like I mean, I'm sure there's some who wouldn't be like that, but it's definitely a part of their culture. Like, they're not confrontive. Like in continental Europe, they're not that confronting type. Like, you do something like you do something wrong, I'm with you. Like, we gotta square up. We gotta go. That's it. And then whatever happens, happens. I completely agree with you. Your hood brother will be proud of these stories. I mean, ultimately, nothing really happened. I remember me and her brother fell out. Me and my spouse's brother. Like, okay, I fell out so bad with them where I can leave my house keys in their flat and they would never come over here again. I fell out so bad with them. I know I could leave my house keys in their hand and they would never come through that front door. Even if I gave them permission, they'd be like, "Nah, I ain't fucking with that." But there was one. I'm thinking this one dude. Now I was afraid of this one dude. This is back in America. This is when I was in a homeless shelter. I was friends with this one dude, but I was for real afraid of him because this dude was just like he was just unpredictable, even by my standards. This dude was just like something was off with him. And I never knew his name, but we were cool. We were real cool. Because I gave him rides to school, because we would have to leave like 6 in the morning or something like that. And I gave him ride, and I remember I still remember the last time I seen him, and I never seen him again. Somebody probably killed him because he was just unpredictable. But he was cool. But like I was for real kind of afraid of him. Like I knew there was no, I could not beat him up. There was just he was just too big, and he was just like the only way I could win. Okay, when you fight somebody who's just clearly out of your weight class like him, but still like physically fit. The only way I could get lucky and win, I would just have to just completely either just like aim for his diaphragm or just like aim for specific spots on his head, kind of thing. Because anything after that, I'm just far too light. I couldn't use my body weight in any kind of way for him, or I would have to just get lucky and I would have to get lucky and daze him or knock him out. That would be the only way, and it'd be a low chance I could do that. Very low chance. I was like kind of afraid of him because he was also very unpredictable in everything he did. So you just never knew what he was gonna do. And I never seen him. I still remember the last time I seen him walk away, and I never seen him again. Never seen him again. Bangkok is the best city in Thailand. Just got back from a 3 month stay. Bangkok has the best of it. Word up. Well, maybe I might check out Bangkok. Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, Shay. I don't know how you say that. 7983. Send me. Can you email me where you still, if you feel comfortable? Email me the hotel you was at and all that, and I'll look into it then. So I want to go somewhere that has good food, good cooked food, and it doesn't get cold. Doesn't get cold. I'm gonna get out of here, man, because it's 9:30. So y'all have a good day, evening, night, and I didn't even get to the video. If you watching, man, I'm sorry I didn't get to the video. I'll try to live stream tomorrow or next week. But I'll catch y'all later, man. I'm out. Peace out. Thanks for everybody who donated, like, subscribed, and I'll catch y'all later, man. And thanks for the 30, man. I don't know if you want me to say your name on live stream, so I won't say it, but I did get it in the Cash App. So thanks a lot, man. I'll see y'all later, man. Peace out.